sant yàlla.
looy xaar utal Wave nga scan nga fay te nag doo ci yokku dara.
Jar Oil, the company, have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
In the Gambia, we all move to different paces. Time is money, convenience is power, and now both are in your hands. No more long lines, no more late payments, no more missed chances. Not anymore. Because now the Gambia has its own super app, Zap. One app, one tap, endless convenience. Send money instantly, pay your bills in seconds, shop without borders, pay your rides, order your meal, buy your ticket, deposit and withdraw money for absolutely free. No extra charges, no hidden fees, only on Zap Super App. This is not just convenience. This is confidence. This is the future in your hands. And the best part, Zap is born right here. Built for us, designed for every Gambian home, every Gambian dream. So don't wait in the past. Step into the future. Download Zap today on App Store and Play Store and enjoy endless free services. Call us today on our toll-free number 1666 or on 260-0001. Zap, all in one, all for you. Tap in, zap in.
Hello again on Monday, the 29th of December 2025. We're left with barely 48 more hours of 2025, and then we're right into 2026, a very important year for Gambians. And on YouTube, we don't carry all that we air on Coffee Time every morning, but two important articles that I want to share with those of you who only watch our YouTube feeds. Maybe you'd like to go and listen to the audio later on. Alaji Nyabali, a Gambian based in Spain, has written an open letter commending President Barrow for leading the Gambia out of authoritarian rule in 2017, restoring civil liberties, freeing political prisoners, welcoming exiles, and repairing the country's international image. The article highlights achievements such as the peaceful democratic transition, the revival of independent institutions, and the end of widespread fear, while noting lingering issues with police conduct. Nyabali warns that despite these gains, unresolved challenges such as rising living costs, youth unemployment, weak healthcare and education, fragile governance, and slow justice continue to burden citizens. He criticizes delays in implementing TRRC recommendations and delivering a new constitution, warning that selective justice and corruption undermine public trust. Now, central to the letter is a plea against Barrow seeking a third term, arguing it would betray his own promises, erode democratic progress, and risk repeating the mistakes of African leaders who cling to power. Nyabali urges Barrow to honor term limits, preserve his legacy, and exit office with dignity, ensuring the Gambia's democratic maturity and long-term peace. Another piece of writing, beautifully read for us by Lamin Cham of the Standard newspaper, challenges Dr. Ismaila Cisse's claim, which is echoed by NPP officials, that President Barrow's achievements are unprecedented, arguing instead that the People's Progressive Party, PPP, under Sir Dawda Jawara, laid the foundations of the Gambian state. At independence, we are told the Gambia was extremely fragile, yet the PPP established core institutions, infrastructure, and policies that successive governments, including the NPP, still rely on today. The article highlights PPP's people-centered governance, cautious borrowing, and landmark projects such as the Banjul-Basse Highway, feeder roads, and the creation of national institutions like the Central Bank, SSHFC, and Gambia College. It contrasts PPP's fiscal discipline, which kept debt at $2 billion after 30 years, with the NPP's alleged rapid borrowing that has raised debt to about $92 billion in just 8 years. Now, while acknowledging and applauding Barrow's infrastructural developments, the author stresses they build upon roots and systems first established by the PPP. And finally, the article defends PPP's legacy of democracy, human rights, and institutional independence, noting the party's ongoing reorganization under Usman Madike Fall as proof of its resilience and continued relevance. And there we leave the politics to concentrate on our guest for the remaining minutes of this second hour, Professor James Freeman, a Gambian son whose journey from Banjul to the halls of academia abroad reflects resilience, excellence, and diaspora achievement. From breaking records on the soccer or football field at Wabash College to shaping minds in the classroom, Professor Freeman embodies the bridge between heritage and global accomplishment. Today, we explore his story, his scholarship, and the lessons he carries for the next generation. I just call him James, so I'll simply say, James, welcome to Coffee Time with Peter Gomez.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you. Welcome, guests and people in the diaspora.
Where you belong.
Yeah.
Or is it here? Is it here that you belong? You may not always be physically here, but you know what they say in Wolof? Pichangi chekau, wa helmangi chisuf.
That's true. Yeah, this is still home, even though I've lived outside for almost 40 years. Yeah.
Take us back to your childhood in the Gambia.
Okay. I grew up in Brikama most of the time because my mother was a teacher, Mrs. Freeman. So I lived in Brikama, attended primary school there, and I attended St. Peter's High School. And then I did my A-level sixth form at St. Augustine. So that was in 1982 to 84. I did my A-levels, and then in 1986, I had a chance to go study in the U.S. Under Coach Alfai at Wabash College. So there were two other Gambians there who went before me, Joe Sambu and the late Gabi Lajongdao.
Yeah, Gabi was my classmate. Yeah. We did high school together. And what memories of Banjul, St. Peter's St. Peter's Technical High School, as it was called in those days, and St. Augustine's remain most vivid in your memory?
For St. Peter's, I was the third batch, so it was a new school, and there were just a lot of things were going on. It was technical high school, so we had to do
technical drawing,
technical subjects, woodwork or metalwork. You had to do that, but it was good. It built the foundation for what I became. Also at St. Augustine, even though I attended sixth form and played soccer there.
Come on, James, give me football. Don't give me soccer.
Played football there, sorry. It was actually, that's where I got into economics, which later became my field.
Mm-hmm. And apart from the school, how did your upbringing prepare you for the leap into international academia and athletics?
Yeah, my mother, as I mentioned, was an educator, but she inspired me, but she never pressured me. So it was just, I enjoyed academia, I enjoyed learning, and also enjoyed playing football. So I had to combine both, use my academics and also the football, sorry, I promise.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'll take soccer. And how did the opportunity to attend Wabash College come about?
The opportunity came about, I think Coach Alfai, who has recruited a lot of other Gambians. He's been responsible for taking a lot of Gambians to the U.S. So we were recruited, and as I mentioned, Joe Sambo and the late Gabi Ndao went before me. So I actually joined them in January of 1986. And we were at Wabash, it was a small liberal arts college in the U.S., they call it. And we were on academic scholarships. So they were they call it's like Division 3. So they have different levels, but we were on academic scholarship. And, got free tuition, room and board. So that really made it easy for me and for us who were there. Mm-hmm. And since then, I have to give Coach Fai credit. He's taken a lot of Gambians. Many of us are professionals in different fields. And I know there's Usman Gajigo, who also went to Wabash, even though he was a soccer player. But a lot of Keba Mane, and I know there are a number of them who've gone there and graduated.
And okay, you were, scouted, I believe, for your athleticism. What's your story? What was your involvement with football, soccer, prior to Coach Alfai, spotting you out and, giving you this great opportunity, which naturally you seized, with both hands?
Yeah, so I started playing, of course, during that time period at St. Peter's. So I played St. Peter's. And then later on, of course, with the Saraba, the Nawetan team, we played with Bob and Star and Mustafa Minty and others.
I know Saraba. Don't just, spew it out as if everybody would immediately know.
Okay.
Martin here has no idea what Saraba is about. Our doesn't either. Neither does Aji, who is providing technical backup. Saraba was what sort of a team? A league team? A non-league team, Nawetan team, what?
Saraba was a Nawetan team made up of players from mainly what we now call the West Coast region, but mainly Brikama, under Usman Saho.
Who was Michael Demba will be very
and Michael Demba too.
Because Michael is from Lamin.
So Lamin and Brikama and Lamin and later on Gunjur area. And we played in the Nawetan in Serekunda. And I think we won a couple of tournaments there.
Yes.
And if I recall, it was
despised by teams, from the local area.
That's
because
true.
They saw you as coming from the provinces and dominating.
Yes.
That I used to be a very huge Saraba fan.
Yes, that's true.
Very good. So, but only playing for Saraba would not have led Coach Alfai to spot you out.
Yes, what happened after that, I got a chance to play for Roots, and thanks Tijan Sise and Father Goff, who was very influential. So I played for Roots for a couple of years. Then I ended up playing for Walidan just before I left. And during that time period, I also played for the junior national squad, where Ibrahim Dipua was the captain.
Yeah, Dipua. Mm-hmm. And how did you balance the demands of athletics with your academic pursuit? Because you broke records, goal-scoring records at Wabash, all right? Talk to us about that first, and then how you balanced, your football education career.
Yeah, I have to give some credit to Joe Sambu and Gabi. So there were 3 Gambians there. And of course, Joe was a better player actually than I was, because he played in the squad a lot longer, the junior and senior squad. But Joe decided, because there were 3 of us and our team wasn't very strong, Joe switched to playing defense. Gabi was in the midfield, so I was the striker. So most of the records, I have to give credit to having that 3
connection.
Gambians,
Yeah.
and we worked out. So
And it really worked. So Joe would get the ball, get it to Gabi, and Gabi would spot you out.
yes, and Gabi would spot me
You
out. Or Joe,
Gambians, eh?
yeah. So that was Joe was the brain, because Joe was very good and as a winger in was it Young Africans, I think.
Yes.
I may be wrong, but even at Wabash, so he sacrificed. He started playing defense, and so I was a striker. So again, the record is a little bit misleading, because I had a lot of support.
Well, unfortunately, support never counts. It's the ball in the net, and if it's James who last touched the ball as it made its way to the net, you would get the credit. So yeah, I mean, you can credit them, but the records say you broke all those records. So how did you balance, books versus football
Okay, yes.
or soccer?
So I have to say we were recruited to go to Wabash because of our academics and soccer skill. Because all three of us, Joe, Gabby, and I, all went to sixth form. And going to Wabash, it was very rigorous environment. So they needed us to be good on the field and also in class.
Be good at books and play.
And which is, to me, those are complementary skills. I know some people said you can't do it, but a lot of people have done it. And there are a lot of Gambians who have been...
Name a few.
I would go with Baimale,
Yes.
Mahmoud Musa.
It's a name that always comes up.
I may be missing some, but there are a lot. Even
The late Usman Silla,
Yeah.
the Gambia's first schoolboy international,
yeah.
the lawyer.
You see, so there are lots of Gambians who have done it. Have used soccer or football. Sorry to go.
No,
and
it's
have
okay. Don't apologize.
I will get it.
Yeah. We have a large following in the U.S., so if football will confuse them, let's stick to soccer.
So there are a lot of Gambians who have done it. So it wasn't, for me, it was always that my academics was very important. I love to learn, and I'm very curious.
And what sort of challenges did you face as a Gambian during that era, and how did you overcome them? Because a lot of people just assume that, once you enter the United States, it's all rosy.
Now, there were challenges. One of those was, what do you do when school is out? So for us, sometimes Joe and I would stay. We lived on campus. This was Wabash College, was in Indiana. Very quiet. So we lived on campus and we worked on campus. And that's how we earned money during the summer. Other challenges, just adjusting to the culture in the U.S. I think a lot of people, maybe now people know a lot more, but when we were there, I went there in '86, so Joe and Gabby were there before me, a semester before me. The language is different. Even though we studied English, the language was different. You had to learn how to speak, and of course the cold weather. It's very cold in Indiana.
The language is different. I mean, the way people speak,
yes, the accent is different.
Or the English. Because there's what is
Both.
called British English and there's what is called US English.
I think the British English and the US English, a lot of it is spelling and sometimes the pronunciation.
The American omelette is different from the
Yes.
British omelette.
But the other part is that the US has a lot of regional
Accents.
so you have to learn it. And I recall my first class when I went there was to do a speech class, or public speaking. And that was tough. I have to speak in front of native speakers, but I think it really helped me. I still get nervous when I speak
And at the
public.
beginning, did you have people go, what? What did you just say? Maybe you're saying, we used to hear you would say towel. And then you say, I need a towel. And I was like, what was that? Because you needed to say towel.
Yep. Even let me give you this example. I think there was something I was doing. For example, in U.S. we call it marijuana.
Yes.
Gambia we call it marijuana.
Yes.
So you can see it's completely different. But those accents were there, and you learn to adapt. But the weather was cold, and in the summer, Joe and I would work on campus to earn money for the rest of the school year. But it was fully funded. And even that time, I think tuition at Wabash this was in 1986 to 1989. It was over $15,000 a year.
When every time you talk about, interactions, all we hear is Joe and I and Gabby, it would sound as if, you only kept yourselves, to the three of you. I mean, weren't you interacting with students from other countries, especially even, local students, to make friendships whereby you'd be invited to their homes? Because we have a lot of Gambians who met friends who took them in, provided accommodation, they lived with them, and yeah, life became easy, much easier.
No, that's true. Even the soccer team was made up. We had students from Turkey. There was some students from Bangladesh, and we had some students from Ghana. So there was an African community there, but also an Asian community of international students. So yes, we did bond, and of course there was a number of what we call Black Americans, African American students, and one of the place where many of us international students, not just where this place called the Malcolm X Institute. That's where we would go during the summer to cook, watch TV, because that's all, it's what we do. So yeah, there was a lot of support from other students, including Black American students who really helped us, and a number of faculty members who would take us during the breaks to their homes for meals and so on.
Mm-hmm. So you arrived, in the mid-'80s. In the 2000s, especially post-COVID, immigration has become a major issue right around the world, especially in the U.S. Did you have, immigration issues back in the mid-'80s?
For me personally, no. And part of it was that I was fortunate enough to get scholarships. I never had to pay tuition for both my bachelor's, master's, and PhD. For other students...
It's good to be good, huh?
And have a lot of blessings.
Well, first you need to be good.
And have a lot of blessings.
And then the rest will follow. Yes. So go ahead, yes.
So, but for other students, they had to work, during the summer or put themselves through school to be able to do that. Even though I think after September 11, 2001, I think when things got really tight in the U.S., it was still a challenge for many international students and especially Gambian students, to be able to afford the scholarship. Even if you get full tuition and partial room and board, you still have to be able to buy your books and get some of your essential things that you need.
Mm-hmm. And how do you see the situation today with Trump and ICE and all of that?
It's become even tougher for international students. Like my institution right now, and again, my state, Massachusetts and Boston, we are considered what we call the democratic states, and some of the laws now are geared towards maybe hurting some of the states, and especially for international students. So some of things have changed, and I hope things would get better. But for example, now international students have to complete this registration form that they have to do, and they're very strict. Because usually when you get an I-20, it has to be certified or regularized every year to show that you're a student and in good standing. I think now it's gotten a lot tougher.
What extra are they being asked to do?
I think I heard now some of them they check in their social media.
Oh.
If they do protests, like there were a lot of campus protests related to Palestine and so on, that's also been monitored. So it's a lot riskier for international students. I mean, during that time, it was South Africa, divestment, and so on, but it was not. But now it's a lot tougher for international students.